Hello, welcome to Conspiracy Classroom. I'm your host, Johnny GPT, and the story tonight is electrifying. So sit back, relax, and grab some snacks, as tonight we will try to unpack the Philadelphia experiment. So let's flash back and get the facts on this class act conspiracy. A few more rhymes in there for you. Anyways, we begin in the fall of 1943 at the height of World War II. From the Philadelphia shipyard, a strange story would begin to brew, involving a United States Navy Cannon-class destroyer fitted with experimental modifications linked to Albert Einstein and, of course, the legend himself, Nikola Tesla. According to legend, what would later be referred to as the Philadelphia experiment was the Navy's attempt at something far beyond what was considered ordinary wartime technology. The Navy's goal was to successfully render the ship invisible, but not just to radar and sonar, but to cloak the ship to the naked eye through a process called degaussing, where they eliminate the remnant electromagnetic field, making the ship invisible. Unfortunately, their efforts resulted in a catastrophic failure to ship and crew, but this attempt would later inspire and connect to other conspiracy theories involving the Montauk Project, UFOs, the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, and even the HAARP facility in Alaska. So let's ship out and learn what was supposedly set up, what is said to have happened during the test, what became of the crew, and how the tale first surfaced. The legend of the Philadelphia experiment centers around a Cannon-class destroyer escort docked at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard called the USS Eldridge. According to the story, the ship was outfitted with powerful generators, superconducting electromagnets, thousands of feet of copper wire, Tesla coils, and electromagnetic batteries. Large-scale electrical and gaseous equipment was supposedly installed throughout the vessel, making the ship capable of generating an intense electromagnetic field around the hull. The stated goal was to render the Eldridge invisible to conventional tracking equipment like radar and sonar. But the level of technology supposedly being applied to the ship tells a different story entirely. According to the legend, top naval scientists were attempting to equip the vessel not only to avoid radar and sonar, but to become optically invisible as well. Through a process known as degaussing, the converted ship would reduce or eliminate its remnant magnetic field, producing the desired results. But the experiment allegedly went far beyond conventional methods. Cutting-edge theories and their applications were said to be loosely based on Albert Einstein's unfinished work towards a unified field theory. And of course, many of the cutting-edge concepts and ideas associated with said experiment were rumored to be derived from many a conspiracy theorist's favorite man of science, Nikola Tesla. In some accounts of the story, officials referred to the effort as Project Rainbow. By generating an intense electromagnetic field around the entire vessel, the hope, according to the story, was to achieve a decisive wartime advantage against German U-boats and enemy detection systems. But if the legend is true, what happened when they finally activated the equipment went far beyond simply hiding the ship from the enemy. It vanished altogether. On or around October 28, 1943, the generators were activated. Witnesses on nearby ships and the docks are said to have seen a greenish or blue-green fog accompanied by an electrical glow envelop the Eldridge. Once fully engulfed in this strange static electric fog, the ship allegedly vanished completely, not just from radar, but from regular sight. Then moments later, according to the most common version, the Eldridge briefly reappeared hundreds of miles away at the Naval Operating Base in Norfolk, Virginia, where it was supposedly observed by the crew of the merchant ship, the SS Andrew Furseth. It then vanished again and returned to Philadelphia. Later retellings added time travel elements, claiming the ship or members of its crew briefly entered other periods of time. The most disturbing part of the legend concerns the sailors and crewmen aboard the Eldridge during the experiment. Many are said to have suffered severe psychological trauma, permanent disorientation, or rendered completely catatonic. Some accounts given have claimed crewmen became phased or would glitch in and out of reality, with the ability to walk through solid objects or even completely vanish. Some crewmen were described as having been found partially fused or embedded into the ship's metal bulkheads and deck, with limbs appearing through a wall or ceiling attached to no one on the other side. Other accounts state many of the sailors were going completely mad, unable to process what had taken place, while others were left forever frozen in time. According to the legend, it is because of these horrific side effects, the experiment and all future endeavors were shut down and a complete cover-up followed. Contemporary accounts from 1943 are few and far between. Relegated to myth or rumor, the tale of the ill-fated USS Eldridge first appeared more than a decade later. In 1955, a man named Carl M. Allen, also known as Carlos Miguel Allende, sent an annotated copy of a book by UFO researcher Morris K. Jessup. The book, titled The Case for the UFO, was sent to the Office of Naval Research. The handwritten notes within the book's margins referenced the doomed naval experiment at the Philadelphia shipyard back in 1943. The following year, in 1956, Allen began writing letters to Jessup, claiming he had witnessed the Eldridge disappear while serving on the merchant ship, the Andrew Furseth. That's a hard one. Allen's letters were rambling and erratic. Two Navy officers later had copies of the annotated book privately reprinted, helping the story circulate in UFO circles. It remained relatively obscure until the 1979 book, The Philadelphia Experiment, by Charles Berlitz and William Moore, piqued the public's interest. And later, in 1984, the Hollywood film of the same name brought it to a much wider audience. Naval records, statements from surviving crew members, and even the Eldridge's own deck logs show that the ship was never in Philadelphia at the claimed time of the event, and that no such experiment ever took place. Not to mention, the Navy has consistently stated that the event is science fiction at best. Allen himself intermittently admitted the story was a hoax before recanting his statement. Again and again, he repeated this over the years. Investigators on the topic have described him as an eccentric storyteller, but records can be altered. Witnesses can be silenced. And when has the government ever been transparent in regards to new and unconventional technology? Never. Ask anyone victimized by the 1951 U.S. Patent Secrecy Act. Despite the lack of physical evidence, the Philadelphia experiment became sort of an origin or myth for later conspiracy narratives, like the Montauk Project, for example, famously popularized during the 1990s, based on claims that an electromagnetic research that had begun in 1943 continued decades later at Camp Hero on Long Island. Proponents allege that time travel, mind control, teleportation, interdimensional portals, and contact with non-human entities were all being studied and even achieved on the small island. It's claimed that some of the individuals who were taking part in these experiments had been sailors on the Eldridge back in '43 who jumped off the ship mid-experiment and were thrown forward in time to 1983 and ended up at Montauk participating in the various tests. Because the original story emerged through UFO literature, it is frequently linked to claims of reverse-engineered alien technology, government extraterrestrial collaboration, and suppressed advanced propulsion. More recently, some online conspiracy theorists have linked certain aspects that were achieved by the Eldridge to the 2014 disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. In a video that was leaked online, we see a recording from a U.S. naval surveillance computer screen showing two separate videos. One is a simple recording from an oceanic reconnaissance drone, and the other is an infrared recording from a low-altitude surveillance balloon. Both depict three orbs appearing near and flying with the aircraft before they start rotating around the passenger jet for seconds before all three orbs and the plane are teleported, or rather zapped, in a quick flash of light, causing the target to vanish from the sky. This advanced electromagnetic or plasma technology causing the teleportation follows a similar trajectory to what happened in 1943. The same electromagnetic themes are also tied by some theorists to HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, which is a large grid of antennas located in Gakona, Alaska. Conspiracy accounts claim HAARP can create atmospheric bubbles of varying sizes that heat or disrupt the ionosphere, which alters jet streams by causing air to rush and fill the expanded gap in the atmosphere, thus deliberately modifying weather patterns across large regions. In this narrative, HAARP is portrayed as a modern continuation of the same secret electromagnetic research that began with the ill-fated experiment in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. The Philadelphia experiment remains one of the most enduring military urban legends of the 20th century. The dramatic claims about invisibility, teleportation, time travel, and the horrific fate of many of the crewmen has filled many folks' imagination and has continued to keep folks looking and theorizing about supposed suppressed technology and what advanced secret weapons the U.S. military-industrial complex has kept secret for over a century. The story of the USS Eldridge will continue to be retold, expanded, and woven into newer theories about what secrets are kept from the public. Stories about teleportation, time travel, unexplained disappearances, and weather control will always be popular and pique curiosities. Whether viewed as pure fiction, a cautionary tale about wartime secrecy, or the seed of a much larger mythology, it shows how a single set of letters in the 1950s could grow into a multi-decade conspiracy narrative that still captures the imagination and hearts of today. I'm Johnny GPT. Thank you for listening to Conspiracy Classroom. Have a good night.